Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's EVM and this is the Subaru Solterra full electric vehicle, their very first. But I'm going to start with giving this some respect because this is an SUV. And I don't mean one of the 90% fake SUVs that we have like ID4s and so forth. It's an actual SUV because it can go off-road, it's got various off-road modes and it's got the best ground clearance, I think, of any EV on the road, certainly in its class. So it can actually do the utility vehicle side, the sportiness that SUVs actually claim to be. And it's full four-wheel drive as well. Now, it shares its underpinnings with Toyota. It's essentially the same car, apart from some cosmetic differences at the front. Toyota are known openly for saying that electric vehicles are not the future, they do not work. So I'm curious to see, as they've done the drivetrain, as they've done the batteries and the chassis, how good an EV this is, because they started out, what, 2 decades ago, maybe longer, ahead of everyone else with the Prius, with the hybrid technology. So this could either be really good or really bad when it comes to the EV side. Before we mention the efficiency, all that sort of stuff, and take it out on the road, let's just have a quick look around this. Very SUV front end, kind of flat. Doesn't need a grille, of course, because it's electric. It's got these kind of very narrow but pointy headlights. I quite like that. This sort of creased bulge bonnet. And you can tell it's a ground BV because it's a fairly short bonnet. So that's a benefit. We started off in a good place. But if you look at it from the front, and I'll put another picture up, do you not think it kind of looks like the MG ZS? Like they've used the same tracing paper? It's not as tall as I expected, especially given the ground clearance, so it's not too imposing. It is quite long. It's longer than an Eeek, than an ID4, but it's not as long as a Tesla Model Y, for example. So it kind of sits in the middle. But it is quite a big car. This is the charging port, CCS. We'll come to this later because there's a bit of a problem with the charging. It will easily accommodate a family. You've got really, really good rear entry for child seats and so forth. You've got a little bit of a crease going on there. And of course, because it's an SUV, plastic. Lots of chunky plastic and off-roadness. The back, kind of angular, definitely that sort of chunky appearance. I'm not really sure what these are doing. They don't look right for me. No rear wiper, which can be a problem, as you've seen. And some people really don't like that. You've got the big plastic, of course, that's obligatory at the bottom here. It looks like a lot of other kind of chunky off-road or SUV types for me. It's not bad, but it's not great either. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, the boot, because this is a family car, of course. That's what it's designed for. It's actually pretty big. It's quite a bit smaller than an Eeek, but that's huge. And it's not quite as big as an ID4, but that is more than enough for a family. You've got a little bit of storage under here as well, and you can put this further down, and I'll just get this out of the way, flat load bay. And if you put the seats down, tons of space. So it's not class leading, but for me, that is more than enough for anyone. Okay, let's start with the steering wheel, which is actually quite a small one. It's got a lot of buttons, it's very busy. I mean, the buttons are good and nice to feel, good feedback, so there's no problems there. That's not the best. Once the seat's in the position so you feel comfortable in terms of distance and height, this gets in the way of the speedometer because it's like a Peugeot. It's designed to be seen above the steering wheel. You don't look through it like you do on a lot of other cars. So you move this down so you can see that better, and then you're not in a comfortable driving position. So some people may find it slightly awkward in this car. So have a good sit in it before you choose to buy one, for example. Let me turn the car on. Unfortunately, the problems continue a little bit because you have a range guessometer there. So this is saying I've got 64 miles left. And it's not a virtual cockpit. That is pretty much what you get there. However, there's no percentage bar. It doesn't tell you the percentage of the battery. It just tells you how much it thinks is left. The rest of the cabin around here is like, well, it's like a corduroy material. It's recycled material. I don't mind that at all. And these feel sturdy enough. You've got this massive screen in the middle, which I'll come to in a second. and you've got that continuing sort of fabric, if you like, covering the rest of the dash. I do have a problem with the materials though. On a lot of the places in here, it's very, very sort of scratchy plastic, quite cheap. The door cards, that's quite soft. That's not too bad, but it's not great. That's like a faux leather. Then you've got all this black gloss. The buttons feel nice, that's okay, but it's a fairly cheap door handle there. And then when you get down to the storage, again, very cheap plastics going on. So yeah, it's not what I'd call a premium interior on a car which, well, it starts at £50,000. Now this, the infotainment system, has the great get out clause of, in this case, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. But if you don't have that and you're just using the sat-nav built into the car, it's actually quite quick. The sat-nav's quite fast, but the rest of it is not very good at all. There's too many button presses, and when you go to certain things like how efficient the car is, I mean, that's all it says there. That's all it gives me. Current, that's all I have. Why do I have an update button here to put it on a graph? Just give me the trip information. All this wasted real estate, you click on settings. Again, nothing here. It's as far away from the driver's finger as you could possibly get. And when you sat back here, you have to lean forward. So it's something you absolutely cannot do when you're driving. On and off for your audio and volume. And the rest is like a touch button, you know. So if you want to turn the heating on, for example, I'll do that. So again, you can't do it by feel. You have to take your eyes off the road. That feels okay. Once we come back to this very, very big center console, I mean, it's really wide to the point where a bigger chap, shall we say, might be banging the knees, because that's straight, whereas for the passenger it curves in. So the passenger's got a lot of space, but not so much the driver. And it's just black gloss. I mean, take my word for it, this is full of fingerprints before I wiped it down, and it's got lots of scratches already. This is where you change from reverse drive neutral. You have to push it down first before you spin it round. So I don't mind that, and that's P for park. You have some cup holders here, which work well, and they're quite deep. However, if you're using the armrest, you can't use any bottles. You do have some storage here, so underneath there you have even more storage. But this is it's ABS plastic. It's the cheapest plastic you're ever going to find in there. I mean, it is kind of hidden, so they can probably get away with it, but it's not, again, it just doesn't feel very sturdy. Now you're probably wondering where Harry is. Well, he took one look and ran away, and he said he was just very, very angry and incensed, and he's not happy at all. Because, let me show you the glove box. Wait a minute, it doesn't have a glove box. You do have storage down here for whatever you want, but it's open. So the only closed storage that you can keep away from prying eyes is this one there. Up here you have a button, which if I press that, means you can open this sun visor blind, and it goes all the way back to the rest of the cabin. Yeah, it just brightens up a quite dull cabin. There's lots of blacks and greys. You know, the seats, for example, they're just kind of standard black seats, but they are very comfortable. I've done a long journeys in this car, and yeah, no backache at all. So it is a very comfortable place to be. However, I just look around and I'm just not feeling where my £50,000 has gone. This seat is in the furthest back position it's possible to put one in, and yet I still have a lot of room. So yeah, there's a lot of space. You've got a pretty much flat load bay. It's a little slight lip, but it's not a problem. And you'll definitely get 3 people abreast in here. The middle one's not huge, but it's enough. You've even got heated seats as standard, and USB-C, and of course vents. They've upset Harry. Let's hope he'll come back for seeing what it's like on the road. The first thing I want to mention as we're doing...
I got to speak up a bit.
The reversing bong, or whatever you want to call it.
That is
Why do I need
awful.
a chime to tell me I'm in reverse? No, wait a minute. Yeah, it's just occurred to me. I know what it's for.
What's it for?
Blind people.
That's what blind people
So
can
you
drive.
know you're in reverse.
Fantastic. Because I've just seen here, there's no braille.
Because I've taken this on probably about, I've done about 800-900 miles in it now,
Yeah.
so I'm very familiar with it. Went down to mum and dad's down south, 260-70 miles there and back again, so that wiped the weekend out. So we're having to do this on the evening when the light's not brilliant after our normal jobs.
It's going to have to go back a bit, isn't it? Yeah. Highlights the problem of his car. It's a rather big car.
It is a big car, but it doesn't feel like a big car. It doesn't feel like a a really wide one, even on these roads. So like the GV70 last week,
yeah.
that was a tank.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I don't feel, I mean, it's got really good visibility.
Yeah, they've done really well with that, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's an easy car to drive. It's comfortable. It's got lots of space, decent sized boot. So all in all, as a car, as an SUV,
Yeah.
it's actually all right.
It ticks some boxes there.
And as we probably mentioned earlier, the interior does let it down a bit, doesn't it?
I'm sitting in I don't know, I would say it's an entry-level interior.
I just feel like that the Subaru owners may say, well, it's a rugged interior.
It's a workhorse.
It's a workhorse. A farmer, for example, would like this.
Yes.
Well, what's with the black gloss?
Well, farmers like black gloss.
That's not a rugged, material. So.
Well, I think the thing is as well, you can have rugged, but not what feels like cheap.
Are you okay now after the upset of having effectively nothing to show people? It's your primary purpose.
I'll never be okay with that. But what? Why?
Exactly. What is the reason?
The thing is, I would use that as a joke all the time. Could you get some sweets? Where are they? They're in the glove box. How do I get in? Oh, it's got a button, just some...
I asked my mum that. In fact, if anybody wants to watch another EV Grandma versus the Solterra, that'll be in for members only. We move on to essentially my biggest problem with this car, what I've learned over these hundreds of miles and confirmed what other channels have said. So it's definitely not just this car or anything like that. It's the efficiency, it's the range, and
the price.
It's an awful
It's
EV.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very rare we say that level. I would go for, now steady yourself, I would go for a Mustang Mach-E over this any day.
I would. Yep.
I'm
Definitely.
as stunned as you.
Yep. It ticks boxes. It is an SUV. It will go off-road. Box ticked. This has got a decent amount of space. It's got a lot of space, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
Although the boot's not the biggest, it's more than big enough for a family.
Yep. Ticks that box.
The interior, not quite the price bracket that I'd expect, but it's functional.
Yep.
And it is comfortable, very comfortable in fact.
So we'll tick half a box there.
It rides well.
It's very comfortable.
The power, it's only got 210-ish brake
Feels a little bit
horsepower.
more.
It does, but for me, it's perfect. It's not too much. It's not.
The chassis
too
doesn't
little.
feel like it's going to do anything stupid, does
You can
it?
tell Subaru have done the chassis side of it in terms of the handling and that, and they have.
Yep.
Toyota have done the EV drivetrain and chassis.
And that's where the problem starts.
Yeah, so let me tell you about the efficiency. I have done 2 270-mile journeys, as well as driving it for work on commuting stuff. Now, going down there, I drove it economically, but not overly.
Yeah.
With no heating on.
Yeah.
Because it was warm, about 15 degrees.
Wow.
Coming back, knowing what I found out, I drove it very economically behind a truck.
You did the old...
That thing.
Yep.
What do you think over that, let's say, 550, 600 miles journey, the miles per kilowatt hour? Once I figured out how to find it anyway, what do you think it was?
I'm going to say between 3 and 3.5.
That would be below average, but okay for an SUV.
I think because it's a
For an
big
SUV,
car,
it's a
it's
big
four-wheel
car.
drive.
The four-wheel drive will have an effect.
Yep.
2.5.
2.5. I mean, that's really bad, isn't it?
But
I
don't
was
forget,
lowballing.
no heating,
Yeah.
driving economically.
Yeah.
If I drove at motorway speeds, and again, 15 degrees, so it's not winter, even though it is winter, if that was at 3 degrees with heating on, driving at motorway speeds, you'd be looking at 2.1.
Yeah.
So let's give it the benefit of the doubt. It's got a 64 kilowatt hour battery, usable, at 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. In fact, no, at 60, because you're never going to arrive on empty. So 60 kilowatt hours.
Easy.
Yeah, 60 kilowatt hours of what you would use and be comfortable at stopping it with, times 2.5.
Well, it's 150.
150 mile range. 150 mile range in a £50,000 car.
That's just
And that's average.
That's poor, yeah.
Around, I reckon you get 175 to 80
Round town.
work and stuff like that. So are we basically saying that this is a short range £50,000 big SUV?
I think we probably are.
But you know what?
That one is coupled.
God, here we go again.
Yep.
You know what? It doesn't just end there. I'm going to leave that bonging just so everybody else can be as annoyed as I. It doesn't end there, because what is quite important if you don't have good efficiency? What would offset that?
I think the ability to charge really quickly.
if you don't have something that's big, it's about getting it in as fast as possible.
It is, yeah, making the most of it.
I've verified this at 7 different rapid chargers, and we've talking to other people as well. This will only charge at 70 kilowatts on a 400 volt charger, mainly due to the chargers, not so much this. So 70 odd kilowatts. Subaru say it'll charge at 150.
Right.
Now, I've tried 3 different brands of 300 kilowatt or up to 800 volt chargers.
Yeah.
100 kilowatts.
Was the most.
Well, 102 was the most I saw.
Wow.
And that was after doing a few rapid charges so that the battery was absolutely up to temperature. Again, good 15 degrees temperature. Then waiting till the next day, so it had time to reset itself, still got 100.
Wow.
However, that's not so much the problem. 100 I can live with, but once you get to 40%, it drops down. In fact, let me get my phone out. Where is it? So I can show you. So by the time it got to 44%, and this happened every single time, this is not a one-off, 31 kilowatts it's running at.
So hang on, so it doesn't even get to half?
No. By the time it got to 55%, it's running at 23 kilowatts. That's on an 800 volt charger.
Have they got the little battery from a Leaf?
There we go, 71%. It's down to 12 kilowatts.
Wow.
And by the time we got to 75%...
Charging roughly, you can charge at home.
7.9 kilowatts, which is literally slightly faster than what you do at home.
Yeah.
So effectively, you can't rapid charge it beyond 65 to 70%.
That is just... That's bad, isn't it?
I mean, the Nero is a smaller car with 2-wheel drive. But it's not that much smaller, but
No,
it is smaller. That will do 260 miles in the real world. This does 170 odd. It's so far removed from... Now, we will apologise for this. Normally we would do this on the GoPro driving, the second part, but it's just simply too dark and the car's going back tomorrow, so we have to get this filmed. So we're on the SLR with our phone torches pointed towards us so you can see us. I'm wondering what I'm paying for, because I'm paying £50,000 or a bit more for a 64 kilowatt hour battery, which is about... well, 10-15% less than the Enyaq, the ID4.
So it's losing there already.
Yeah, the Mustang Mach-E, the Genesis EV60, the EV6, the Ioniq 5. I mean, let's do that next. Would you get this or the Mustang Mach-E? We've already said that, haven't we?
Mustang Mach-E.
Ioniq 5, GV6, EV6. All the Korean ones. I mean, look at the GV60 interior to this, or the Ioniq 5, or the EV6.
It's a different...
They're just as practical. The only thing this does, which is semi-unique, is that ground clearance.
Yeah.
It's about it, really, because there's other 4-wheel drive cars.
Yeah. I can't see that people are going to buy this to go take it across a field.
All those have much better range, much better efficiency. They're cheaper, for the most part. I mean, I like little things like Subaru have got heated steering wheel, heated seats, heated windscreen, heated rear seats on all of them.
So it's winter.
Because it's usually sold in cold climates, is this car. I like that sort of thing. That's Subaru.
Yeah.
But I just think everything that they're giving to Toyota...
Toyota have, can I use the word beep up, Tom?
Do you think it can be improved? I mean, there are software tweaks coming
I'm
up.
hoping.
The fact that the percentage display isn't there. How did that get out of...
the factory.
The factory from, did they do no focus groups?
No, I don't. Well, it depends what focus group they had, doesn't it? Really?
Maybe the hydrogen fans or something like that. But basic stuff has been missed. Say we've got 70 miles with about 35-40% off. If I turn the heater on, 51. It's got a heat pump.
I thought it had. My grandma's 3-bar electric heater somewhere in here.
That I genuinely was shocked when I read it's got a heat pump, because that should mean it's quite efficient.
Quite efficient, yeah. The real letdown with this is anything that Toyota have breathed on.
Yeah.
And Toyota can make good cars. They do make some really good cars.
I like Toyota. I am not an anti-Toyota person.
No.
I don't like the self-charging nonsense, but they make very
good cars.
Very solid. They're the byword for reliability for me. I mean, we haven't even mentioned the big one. Tesla Model Y.
Yeah.
About the same price as the top spec version of this. Mm-hmm. That will do, in the real world, I would say about 100 miles more.
That's just...
on a similar, slightly bigger battery, but essentially it's the same price.
Rapid charge.
And rapid charge.
All the way through.
Oh, probably 4 times faster. I mean, 5 times faster once you get past the 70-80. So the gulf in that EV technology is extreme. I look at Subaru and I'm just keep on thinking, I'm sorry, Subaru. I'm sorry. But look at the specs.
Well, the Impreza was a big car for me when I was growing up. It was a
Yeah,
poster car.
Yeah. And again, a byword for reliability.
Yep.
Let's summarise this. I would say for me, this is an okay to good car for what it's designed for, the SUV, the ruggedness, but a bad EV.
I would say so, yeah.
Even a diehard Subaru fan, though, would think this is a Toyota.
Yeah.
It's not a Subaru.
No, you need the bonnet scoop. Where's the big wing on the back?
And the 5-inch exhaust.
Where's the gold wheels?
Well, yeah.
I want it in that blue colour as well.
Well, do you know one thing that isn't inexcusable or bad in any way?
Would that be membership?
It would be the membership.
Fantastic.
And who doesn't want to see what my mum, EV grandma, thinks of the Solterra?
I think that's worth £1.
Only members will see that.
So,
Please subscribe, like all that sort of rubbish, and let me know what you think. If you've owned one of these, or rather, if you own one,
or looking at one.
I'll leave it up to you. Drive it by all means, but the efficiency.
Really, you got to think, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a local car.
It is, yeah.
It's a big local car.
Sad to say.
It is. So, in 2022-23, I feel like we've gone backwards.
Backwards, yeah.
So, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry about the camera and that, but needs must. We'll see you next time.
See you later.